Hey, I'm Marina.
And I'm Emily.
And I've seen everything in the Sex and the City empire 10,000 times.
And I'm starting fresh.
So I'll be woman-splaining the show.
And I'm along for the ride.
But there's a twist. We are starting with And Just Like That and working our way back to the beginning.
So in other words, we're watching it backwards and in high heels.
This is City and the Sex. All right. I start every podcast by saying, all right. It's like the millennial pause. Okay. Here we go. So nerdy. It's the final episode of season, and just like that, season 2, episode 11. Wow! Cheering, roaring fans.
All right, settle down, everyone, and our live audience, our live studio audience.
And our live studio audience. Oh, you guys are great.
Stop it. Stop it.
Stop it. Well, as I said, we have made it to the finale of season 2.
We've done it. We've done it.
We've done it.
I was worried there if we were going to make it. I genuinely was worried. I think, and you want to know where I was the most worried that we were not going to make it, was after I watched episode 2 of this season. And I was like, this is more than what I bargained for. I'm overwhelmed. But we did it. Emily, you made it. I went to Sarah Jessica Parker's shoe store the other day. We stopped by in the village.
Okay, research.
Yes, I was doing on-the-ground research, and I was like, is Sarah here? And it was fascinating to walk through, I gotta say, because like the heels were actually incredibly beautiful. It was like all very lovely to look at. And then there are these other shoes that like are very normal, like Payless sandals. There's no middle ground. There's like works of art and then a few things that are like, this is a sandal. But it was very interesting to go inside. And there was one store attendant, and I felt bad for them for hovering around us. He clearly had nothing to do. But I wanted...
Well, was he bitchy to you?
Exactly. Can you imagine if I went into the store and then the one sales clerk in Sarah Jessica Parker's store is like incredibly rude and I'm like, it all makes sense. It was all based on you.
It's all coming together.
You are the reason that everyone on this show is so rude. Or that's what they're saving for the And Just Like That pop-up store that's going to happen when the next season comes out for promotional. It's going to be like a shoe store that also has rude attendants, and that's the And Just Like That experience.
God, and I would pay an $80 entrance fee for that.
I would pay someone to insult me to my face.
Yeah, I would. I love the idea that you alluded to the fact that she's like the Phantom of the Opera at her own store.
She's just in the walls.
Yeah. She's like Zoltar. Is that like Zoltar, the like psychic that's in the box?
Yes.
That you like go and like put the coin in
Yeah.
and are like, which shoe should I buy? And she's like, the Manolos.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, good idea. Are you writing this down?
I am.
We need to go into event planning. HBO, hire us for this pop-up.
We're the Feige. You know what I mean? We're the Snyder. That's what we are.
Yeah, exactly. That you should pay us the same as well.
Between us, who's the Feige and who's the Snyder? I think I know who, but you tell me what
Don't
you think.
make me the Snyder.
I'm absolutely the Snyder.
Okay.
And I know what baggage I say that comes when I say that. Like, you know I'm the Snyder. You know I'm the crazy idea. You're the savvy strategist who's coming up with the good strategy and telling people what they need to do. And I'm the reckless one that's like, I want to do a 4-hour long Star Wars. No compromises.
Also, it's black and white and like a different aspect ratio.
And the whole thing is in slow motion.
I love
that's
yes.
me.
You know what? You've cracked it. I was going to be like, why are you Snyder? I don't really see it. No, now I see it. It's the slow-mo. It's the like, here's my big brain. Here's what we're doing. Everybody pay me money. This is going to be amazing. Like, Yes, good.
Why did you think you were the Snyder?
No, I said
Just
don't make me the
just out of
Snyder.
curiosity.
Don't make me.
Oh, okay. Because you thought I'm just mean.
Yeah, I thought you were going to bully me. I thought this was you setting up a bully.
Setting up a bully. Setting up a bully. Not bullying.
A bully.
Not bullying, but
Noun.
setting up a bully.
Noun, a bully. Sending me a bully.
Wow. Well,
welcome to City of the Sex, and then just like that recap podcast, our season finale.
What were we talking about? Oh, right.
Where are we? What are we doing here?
We've been so distracted by her shoes that we did not even get into our one-word description. Emily, what's your one-word description for this finale?
I guess my one-word description is, it's hard to do with one word. God,
you can always do a hyphen. You know we're very flexible here.
No, these rules are sacrosanct.
Yes.
I think my one word is going to be, this is maybe a little meta, but it's going to be renew, because this really feels like a show that doesn't think it's about to get renewed. That is like, this whole episode is in a rush. We gotta keep moving through things. I feel the panic of this finale. Not that it is a very panicked, high energy finale.
Yeah, I definitely got that vibe when I watched it. My one word would be glam. I just think like everyone, as we'll get into, the whole episode is about this big dinner party. And so everyone's at their most glam. And even the like final stage picture, if you will, is glam. Like, I just feel like they put a lot of effort for the first time this whole season into like, what does the stage picture look like? Like, how is everyone really dressed? Like, what does each dress really say about each person? So I thought it was very glam.
That's true. That's a good one. That's a lovely one. It is some good outfits.
I'm trying to keep us positive after episode 10 was just so dark.
It's a good point. This is going to be a light and fun one. For sure.
This is going to be a light and fun one. But yeah, I thought it was glam. It wasn't the worst finale I've ever seen of a television show.
No, not at all. I really did. After 10, I was really expecting like the pits, and I was pleasantly surprised.
Well, on that note, let's get into it. So usually I would say that we go kind of character by character, but since the majority of this episode is about that dinner party, I'm going to go scene to scene this time. So we open and Carrie is entering the old house and she's on the phone with Aiden. And it's very strange because, especially going from the end of episode 11 when she's in the same outfit and Aiden's crying on the phone and she's like, it's okay, like wounds, heal, because he found out that his son almost died. Then we cut to the opening of this episode and like happy Hallmark music is pumping in and she's like, well, tell everyone I love them. Talk to you later, Aiden. I'm in party mode. And you're like, this man's son almost died like this morning.
I know. I did think we had a time skip, and then Charlotte obviously makes it clear this is the morning after. So that is very funny, and that's a very good point.
Like, this whole episode takes place in one day, and the night before, his son almost died. Like, that's the level of, like, drama. So when this episode opened, I had such whiplash because I was like, whoa, she's like, ha ha ha, tell everyone I love them. I'm like, I think they're scared that their brother is like on the end.
They're going through a crisis. Can you imagine? You're like, all the brothers are there in the hospital. They're all holding hands and crying together, being like, I love you, man. And then Aiden comes in. He's like, Carrie says she loves you. And they're like, can you get the hell out, Dad? Don't want to hear about your girlfriend.
Literally, yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, and then I'm like, that poor ex-wife just being like, oh God.
Carrie says, XOXO, kisses. My ex-wife is like,
kisses.
We're in trouble.
So she's at her old apartment and it's very much like emptied out ahead of, the Last Supper. And of course, this episode's called The Last Supper, the Entrée. And so she's getting ready for the dinner party that night. The other act of violence that she commits is that she left like a newborn kitten in her apartment alone.
I know.
She comes in, she's like, "What are you doing there?" I'm like, "The cat can barely walk. Like, you can't just leave that by
You can't
itself.
just leave that around and hope that it's going to be okay. Yeah, it is too small to fend for itself, but God, it's so cute.
So cute. So cute. Too cute. And then we get the famed Samantha cameo.
Okay. Walk us through this.
Which is it's so funny because it comes like it's like within 30 seconds of this episode. It's like her phone rings and you see that it's Samantha and everyone's like, whoa, what? And basically Samantha planned to fly in for the Last Supper as a surprise, but her plane was delayed. And because of that, she just decided to go home.
Which is very funny. Very, very
It's
funny.
very funny. And then we'll get into it later, but she's kind of the only person in the whole episode who actually pays tribute to this damn apartment.
That's a great point.
She's like, put me on speakerphone. And she, says like, she just sends off the apartment in her own fabulous way. And then we get a nice little homage to Annabelle Bronstein, which I will not spoil for you, but it's a cameo that comes up later.
Okay.
And then she's gone.
And then
as soon as she's on screen for $1 million, she's off screen.
The $1 million scene. I felt strange about this. Because I know the story. Like I know the behind the scenes stuff, and I'm very team Kim Cattrall and get that bag. And it was sort of triumphant to see because it feels like her winning in that sense. If I were her, I think I would have done this scene and like really tried to fully do it and have really fun with it and just like blow it out of the park. But she phoned it in, like really did. And in a way that I was like, oh, I guess you could do that. I would have loved to come in and then just show everyone how much you miss them. But it's kind of, I feel like the opposite. I don't know. Tell me if you got the same vibe. But I definitely got a Kim Cattrall kind of like line. My next line. Thanks, Carrie. Hangs up, looks wistfully out the window. You know what I mean? It was very, I don't want to be here. I'm not going to try. That's the vibe that I got.
I'm of two minds. First of all, allegedly, she basically was like, I don't want to see Sarah Jessica Parker or Michael Patrick King. So she just literally was like, I will record this one scene. I don't want to see a single person and they will have to figure it out.
Okay.
Do I think she's phoning it in? Probably yes. Do I also think she's always been the best character and is therefore the most exciting? Yes. And also, I'm kind of like, get that bag. I'm like the opposite. I'm like, if I'm going to be paid $1 million for a scene, I am giving you 2%. But I mean, listen, I would agree. Like, I don't think she gave it 100%, but I'm also not that upset by it because I think she knows even a fraction of percentage from her is like enough to make people happy. Mm-hmm. And I think she really is done with these people.
Oh, for sure.
So we have the little Samantha cameo, and then we cut over to Harry and Charlotte. Charlotte is very much waking up from her now all hungover from going out the night before and drinking and telling off her whole family. And we have this really, again, just adorable scene, in my opinion, where Harry comes in and he's like, Anthony's here. And she's like, why? And he's like, he wants to talk about losing his ass virginity.
Insane.
Insane. And Charlotte's like, what? And he's like, I didn't even know you could have an ass virginity. Like, yes, I'm clapping.
We stood in our living rooms and we clapped.
I was like, oh, God, finally. And then Charlotte gives this little speech because Harry's kind of like spiraling out. Like, there's all this stuff I have to do. And she's like, you feel like you're doing a lot, but you're actually just doing the bare minimum because I was doing everything before. So basically, suck it up.
Yeah. It's one of those speeches that, like, we've heard a million times, and also, like, on this show as well. Like, I think Charlotte gave him this speech in the last episode twice.
Yeah.
And we're hearing it again, but I never get tired of hearing. It's like the one thing where I'm like, yeah, I'm not sick of having this moment ever happen, because, like, I don't really think men seem to ever get it, so we might as well just keep making this speech over and over.
Yeah.
Like, Charlotte will just keep saying this over and over again, and it's fine.
I get the sense from the writers' podcast sometimes that, like, the writers on the show have these very specific ideas of what they feel is important. And maybe because, like, no one listens to them, or maybe because there's a lot of behind the scenes politics, you know, like, they really try to push in these ideas. And then sometimes they don't realize that they've pushed it in like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
You know?
I believe that. Yeah. It's still on the whiteboard under the, like, to-do list they have in the corner of, like, ideas to press into our audience. You know, it's like no one erased it. No one crossed it off. And so they accidentally keep putting it in the same episodes over and over again.
Yeah, we blame the writer's assistant.
We're going after the little guy there.
Then we get to a very touching scene between Miranda and Steve, where, first of all, it opens on Steve at his Coney Island hot dogs and clams shop, trying to speak Spanish, which, again, icon, hero, the only reasonable person, sensible, empathetic person on the show.
Yeah. The only human being that we have seen on screen
who, like, cares about other people around him other than just, like, his own life.
That's exactly what it is. That is exactly what it is. Thank you for so succinctly describing. I think you just summarized this entire show, actually. Like, we can go in circles about what's wrong with it, and I think that is exactly what it is. He's the only person I've seen who cares about a person that's not himself. That's incredible. Thank you.
Shocking
Behavior in a show of crazy alien people
who can only think about themselves. So we see him, and Miranda comes to visit his Coney Island shop and kind of, you know, have this really tender moment with him saying, like, I do want you to be part of my life. Like, we're not together, but I don't want to just, like, erase you like one of my exes in the past. Like, I want to be involved. I want to know that you're opening a Coney Island shop. You know, I want to know what you're up to. And I love this moment that they have where he's like, okay, but just as friends though, right?
I know.
Because I don't want to date you ever again.
Yeah, because we are not doing this again. Do not do this to me.
Please do not do this to me again. I'm like, yes, king. And then she kind of admits to him, like, you were right about a lot of things. Like, you were right about Brooklyn. And she kind of jokes like, well, you weren't right about us. And he was like, no, you know, I was right about us for a very long time. And it's just so sweet to me, this whole thing, because we talk a lot about, like, it's very clear that, like, there was a certain reaction to season 1 that they tried to really push back against. In some ways worked, in many ways didn't. This is a moment that really works for me, finally, where I feel like they actually gave Steve, as opposed to just like, he's fucking the Whole Foods girl, like, aren't we so happy? They actually, like, gave him like, you know, that having Miranda actually, like, admit that he was good to her is cathartic for me at home.
100. It's like, we needed this, and Steve needed this. Like, we needed Miranda to acknowledge that she did something wrong, or even in this case, she's not even actually talking about her blowing up the marriage and their family, right? It's like, I just mean in terms of, I was wrong about a thing. Like, I can admit that I have made mistakes, kind of thing. It's like, we just needed that so badly.
Yeah.
And Steve, shocker, handles everything with incredible grace.
Then we turn to Naya, who has a very, I don't know, to me it feels very shoehorned in, but basically suddenly she's visited by Andre DeShields of Hadestown fame. He's also of Sex and the City fame because he plays a tap dance teacher in the original show, and they just forgot that and then made him a Columbia law professor.
I love it. He was also on the whiteboard. It was like, to do, get this guy in the show. And that's just been there since Sex and the City. They never erased that.
Literally. So he comes in and he's like, the American Law Institute, which sounds fake, but is real.
It sounds like those fake, like, conservative think tank things. You know what I mean? Like the Epoch Times or whatever. It's like, it sounds like a weird fake institute name.
Yeah, like the Center for Freedom and Liberty.
Yeah.
And you're like, that can't be real. I don't think it is real, but it might honestly be.
This episode is brought to you by the Center of Freedom and Liberty. And guns.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and guns. That's what this show is about. We've secretly been coding all these episodes with a pro-gun agenda. I hope you all have been catching on to that.
Yeah, it's been very, very subliminal, but the hints are there. The clues have been there.
But the hints are there. If you play this podcast backwards, it's actually just gunshots.
Jesus Christ. Haunting. It's haunting.
I'm haunting. We are not making light of gun violence.
Why did you ask? I wasn't even.
I'm not trying to offend people, okay?
Marina, it's too late. You've already been canceled at this point. Like,
oh my God. Yeah, probably. But I'm just trying to say that we are trying to make fun of those GOP think tanks who try to act like they just be normal
like
when they are very clearly not.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, the American Law Institute for Guns and
Freedom comes
Christian
in.
Values.
And Christian values comes in to hire Naya.
Yeah. They're like, they honor her with some fancy honor, whatever. And she comes home and tells Miranda about it. And Miranda's like, that's great. And she's like, yeah, but I have no man to tell about it. Which made me so frustrated, especially like, I don't know. I think because I always kind of like glossed over Naya and Entrée in my mind, but hearing you be so angry about Entrée has like post-triggered me, because now watching her be like, I have no man. I wanted to call Entrée Rashad and I couldn't. And I was like, why? He sent you a link to his gift registry for his baby with another woman. Like, are you joking? Is this a fucking joke? Are you a clown? Like, what is happening?
A clown. It's one of those things that on the surface is a, like, out of context, I think is a very human reaction of like, oh, I don't have a person to share this with, or oh, I don't have a person to text when this exciting thing happens. Such a human, lovely moment, but so many other things you have to take in the context of what has happened leading up to this point that is horrifying. We use this word a lot in the last episode, sinister, and I'm just going to bring it back just for Entrée. He gets to own that word. It's like so many sinister things have happened that at this moment, I get being sad you don't have like a partner to share with, but it's like I would still be like flames coming out of my ears over this like psychopath that I used to be married to.
I just wish she didn't say Entrée. I think that would have been fine if she just come out and been like, I just want a man to share my life with.
Yeah.
Period.
Exactly. Like, your friendship means a lot to me, Miranda. It's just, I wish I had a man to share these things with. Like, that's what, and then made it about that. But no, it was about Entrée. And you were like, ugh, that pig.
And then she's like, I don't want to go to Carrie's party tonight. And then Miranda's like, no, you should go. She's like, okay, I'll be there.
People need to learn how to say no to Carrie on this show.
First of all. And second of all, I was kind of like, I don't know. I was like, why is this in here? I feel like, as we'll set up, she may have a potential love interest, but we don't know that as the audience. So I'm like, why do I care that she almost didn't go?
I wish I had answers for you. I only have more questions.
Tell me why. I shake the computer screen. Tell me why.
I actually like shake. That's how podcasting, remote podcasting works. Actually, we're connected.
Yes,
psychically,
telepathically. But then we get into the party, and many interesting things happen here, to say the least. First of all, let me just say I love Carrie's dress. It's this like shiny checkerboard kind of like cocktail dress that they actually pulled right off the runway. It was literally like on the runway the day before, and then they just like brought it to set and put Sarah Jessica Parker right in it. So that I find is very cool. I hate that she pairs it with leggings like in a 2010s millennial. That makes me want to barf.
I didn't even
but
notice
other than that, yeah. Other than that, it's adorable.
I didn't even notice that, and I'm sad that you pointed that out because I remembered it fondly, and now it seems hideous. The leggings under a runway outfit, fresh off the runway, sad. Sad life.
Sad.
It's like her shoe shop. It's like, here's the Payless, and also here's a sequined booty, like, next to it.
Like, make up your mind, you know? Make up your mind. I love LTWs in like a big spring balloon. That's what I wrote down. Just like a big sack covered in flowers. You're like, I don't know. I hate this. I'm sure it's like a fancy couture gown, but like, okay.
Yeah, well, okay, sure. To the untrained eye, I'm like, that's a really nice potato bag.
And then Lisette is dressed as Lestat from Interview with a Vampire if he were a clown.
What a read.
She's giving like, she has this like puffy clown shirt with collar on and then like little dirndl skirt.
Ugh.
I don't know. Something about it is giving like 90s vampire plus clown that I do not like.
She's strange. You told me that she is the supposed to be the next gen Carrie, kind of, or Carrie's gonna like see herself in her. But I find Lisette bizarre. I would like to see more of this character because I cannot figure her out. For the remainder of this episode, I thought she was high.
Yes.
I was so convinced
yes.
she was, and then they just never explain why she behaves this way. And I was like, oh, that's just her. Okay.
It's so funny. I literally wrote the same note where I was like, did they cut out a scene where she did drugs and we just missed it?
Yeah.
The first piece of evidence of that is when she tells Che, I loved your podcast. Which you have not heard the full extent of the podcast, but Emily. Emily, girl, when we get there, just remember it's Lisette's favorite podcast.
I'm going to be thinking about that in every podcast scene. I'm going to become the like. This is my beat as an entertainment journalist in this moment. Is like my beat is Lisette, and figuring out what her whole deal is. So she's a Gen Z girly who wants to live on the Upper East Side and loves podcasts about woke culture. You're describing my sleep paralysis demon. Interesting.
And she's dressed like one.
Exactly.
And she's dressed like one, given clown realness.
Yeah,
because she is one.
She's everyone's phobia at once in a person.
Yes.
Horrifying.
Serving phobia realness.
Phobia realness. I'm phobia core.
I'm phobia core. Oh my God. Let's not get that started on the TikTok.
No, that's not
Don't
happening.
get that trending. Let's not get that trend. Turn the machine down. Don't get that trending.
Anyone that uses that hashtag, I will be reporting you.
Yeah, we will. But yes, so she goes up to Che and they have that little chit chat. Che says, I'm transitioning. Big empty pause. Emotionally. Do you get it?
No, I don't. Can you explain the joke to me?
I don't want to.
In general was my entire is Lisette high, but also I think this dialogue, if people want to understand how this show works, I think honestly you can skip to just this scene and the finale and just watch this interaction between those two. I wish I could write it out line by line, but we don't. We have so much to get through. We can't get through. I just want to say that their conversation is so bizarre. It's just Che walking in. They want these characters to talk for some odd reason. And So Che just like steps into the apartment and Lizette immediately goes, "Hi, come over here." And then like Che walks over to them and Lizette is like, "I don't know you," or like, "Are you Che Diaz? Because I'm Lizette." And which is, you know, how I also introduce myself to strangers is like an NPC. I'm like, "Hey, are you new in town?" And then Che is like, "Hi, I'm transitioning emotionally." And then Lizette is like, "I did that once when I moved here. Here's my butterfly ring." And then the scene ends.
Yeah. No, and then like Che insults her. She's like, "Yeah, I when I moved to the city from LA, that was really hard." Which like, oh my God. And then she's like, "So I made a butterfly ring to help me get through it." And Che's like, "Uh-huh." Like big comedy, like laugh track, insert laugh track, like really? Dun-dun-dun. And then Che's like, "To capture your metamorphosis." I hate it. And then Jackie, played by Bobby Lee, bursts in for a podcast reunion.
Which everyone wanted, right? Clamoring.
Which everyone was clamoring for.
And Lizette was like, "This is my dream."
Lizette was like, "Can I all get your autograph?" Why didn't she do that? That would have been so funny. Instead, she just like fades back into the wall.
Because she's an NPC and her dialogue options are done. That's what happened.
She ran out.
And Che goes around like breaking pots to like get coins. And then, anyway, so Bobby Lee shows up and they like say vaguely insulting things to each other as kind of like ribbing. Do you know what I mean? But they're not particularly clever. They just like say mean things to each other.
It's literally Bobby Lee comes in and he's like, "Oh, it's our failed sitcom star." And Che's like, "You couldn't even get a sitcom." And then they like hug.
Yeah, and then they hug. And then someone else explains, "This is just how stand-up people are." And I'm like, it's not working. Michael Patrick King, we don't buy it. Like his constant excuse of like mean people that's just stand-up culture. You know what I mean? Because now that you've told me he used to be in stand-up, that has changed everything about Che Diaz.
Encapsulated by this scene where where Smoke or whatever, which is Jackie's partner, who's invited. Steve isn't. She is. Even though she fucked up Carrie's Met Ball gala
That's a good
dress.
point. What the heck is she doing here?
To be an accessory and to explain what stand-up is.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Because again, it's another thing on the whiteboard that they didn't cross off was like defend stand-up.
Right? Yeah, exactly. At any given moment, we need to defend stand-up. They're like, "We did a good job of defending Che. Nice. We crossed that off." And then they forgot that the next thing that is defending stand-up now. And that's what we're going to get. Every episode is it's stand-up culture.
Because you know what's a threat, really, in today's modern civilization?
Oh.
It's not democracy. It's stand-up.
Oh.
Stand-up is under threat, okay?
You're not allowed to bully people? That's just stand-up culture. Now people are out here getting slapped by Will Smith and canceled and booed. I mean, it's so hard out here. But thank God for the Institute of American Guns and Liberty for supporting up-and-coming comedians like Che Diaz.
And transferring making a bully into a successful career.
Exactly, making a bully. There it is. Cut. Send that to print. That's a perfect callback. Thank you.
Thank you. So they have this dumb scene. Before that dumb scene, we see Anthony and Giuseppe are lightly feuding. We also see that Harry comes in with a full promo ad for Apple products. Did you catch that?
No.
He like walks in because Charlotte threw her phone in a blender or whatever, so she doesn't have a phone. So Harry walks in with a little Apple bag and he's like, "It's not my fault. I'm coming from the Apple store on Fifth Avenue where I purchased a iPhone Pro 14.
Well, I'm glad the sponsors are back.
Yeah, I'm like, this isn't even on Apple TV, Michael Patrick King. And guess what? If it gets canceled on HBO Max, they're not going to pick it up, okay?
Yeah, nice try. Don't push your luck.
Then we finally get to Naya's kismet moment where she gets into Carrie's apartment to hang up her coat and she bumps into the Michelin star chef that's going to be cooking for them that night. And he was in a previous episode when Naya was drinking at the bar alone and this man comes to flirt with her, but she's still kind of delusional about Andre Rashad. And so she kind of spurns him away. But this time she learns that he's a fancy Michelin chef and she's very much single. And again, I just want Naya to be happy. I'm happy she's happy.
Mm-hmm. It's like, I can't even care. I just want her to be happy. That's fine. Let's do it. Hot chef. Go.
And he's hot.
Yeah.
So
go for it. Go for it.
That gets the sign off on us from this check standards and clearances signs off on this choice.
Exactly. This is low risk.
Okay, in news organizations, you oftentimes have a standards department and a legal department. Okay, I'm standards and you're legal from now on. Done. Okay. Just wanted to get that on the record.
We've decided which one's the Snyder and which one's the Feige or whatever, and now we've got okay, good. We'll keep going through
I'm
the
standards.
Pairs.
You're legal. We're good. So
I got you.
We signed off on that.
Great
to air for the air.
Good to air.
So then. And also Miranda's there. Again, I think Miranda, this is one of her best looks.
Yes, the red the dress, yeah.
With the red like dress that's also a shawl. I want it. Yeah. But because Naya ran off to, gossip with the chef, essentially, Naya was supposed to be kind of Miranda's buddy, but she's completely abandoned her. So she has to go upstairs to face Che. And she faces Che in the, Garden of Eden origin of their relationship in Carrie's kitchen. She kind of offers the olive branch. Like, I don't want to make tonight a mess. I want tonight to be good for Carrie. Again, being a much better friend than Carrie in every sense of the word. Then they kind of get in this back and forth about their relationship. And they talk about what a train wreck it was. And Miranda's like, but it was a good train wreck, right? And you and me and Che and the audience at home are like, no. And then, and then Che's like, I'll never do that stand-up material ever again. And Miranda's like, yeah, it wasn't funny. And Che's like, I don't know why this acting choice from Sarah Ramirez, because it's so strange. They're like kind of like joking, laughing, the two of them. And then when Miranda's like, yeah, it wasn't funny, like Sarah Ramirez like drops in dead serious face, goes, agree to disagree.
Weird.
And it's like,
weird.
At least laugh it off. Like, okay, I mean, agree to disagree, but I would believe that as opposed to just agree to disagree. It's like,
where did that come
again
from?
God,
right? Once again, the writers and I don't know how Sarah Ramirez feels about this, of course, but like the writers / maybe everyone involved in the show, everyone's complicit. I'm calling everyone out on this. We don't need to go through the whole scene again and why it's so despicable, but they just took all the wrong lessons, I think.
Yeah. And then a tiny font in the bottom of the screen, it said, this was brought to you by the Center for Freedom and Liberty.
Protect our comedians.
And stand up. Protect our comedians. Hate it. That's all I can really say. Then Seema shows up with Director Man.
Oh boy.
And it's the most confusing scene of all time because she shows up and she's like mute suddenly. She like won't talk. Like Carrie walks up and is like, oh my God, how are you guys? And she's like, I don't know, just very cold and strange. Carrie's basically like, what's wrong with you? And she's like, I don't know. He's pulling away. I said I love you. And now he's so strange. And Carrie's like, what? Like, he's obsessed with you. I don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, no. And I get what they're trying to do. On paper. They're trying to be like, she's scared of really committing to true love. And she doesn't want to run at love. She wants to resist. But I feel like we've said it 3,000 times, and I'll say it for the 3,001st time. I just don't believe in this relationship.
No, I don't think the writers do either.
Yeah.
Like, he was introduced as a joke. You know what I mean? Of like Mr. Director Man that's always on his phone, and then like she sleeps with him in the thing. You know, it's like, and all he does is talk in like movie references, but not like actual film like he describes their second date as like the sequel. You know what I mean? I'm kind of this made me turn on Seema. I've lost my patience with her.
I just know that they're going to do what they did last season, which is like last season, they set her up with this like, you know, kind of scroungy guy who didn't have much. And the whole thing is like, rich women just need to be with a guy who doesn't have money because it centers them. And then the season starts to like close out that season on a high note. And then the season started and they were like, actually, he can rot in the dumpster. He's European and gross. Ugh. And I just feel like that's what they're going to do this time. That they're going to be like, that they're like trying to end on this high note of like, Seema can enjoy a full love. And then next season, because it got renewed, it's going to be like, actually, Marvel movie directors fucking suck.
Yeah.
She should fuck around. Rich women should fuck around. I'm like, as a rich woman, I'm so confused what to do.
That's so true, and I hate that. I hate that we've done all these like jumping through hoops to get this guy to get this plot to happen, and you're so right. The minute this comes back, it's gonna be like, just kidding.
Meanwhile, Giuseppe shows up at the party and he reveals that he's moving back to Rome because Anthony will not open up his butthole to him. That's why.
All I'm gonna say about this one. This is so exhausting. I want people to know this podcast takes a lot out of us to do this lightning round of nonsense. Okay. All I'm going to say about this one is like, this is what I mean where it's like, I think it's in their minds series finale. And so like everyone needs a turn. You know what I mean? Like everyone needs to have a thing that has a beginning, middle, and end in this episode. And maybe if they knew there was another season, they wouldn't have forced it so much. I don't want to even give them that much credit, but like maybe that's would have calmed this down. But like, we don't need this. They can just show up and have fun. Like we kind of already did this in a very horrible way where he was like, I learned I can bottom now.
Because of my my real life past co-star and in context show Shinto monk turned ex-husband.
Wow, what a summary. Are you okay?
God. Sounds like ChatGPT wrote it. Yeah. It's just like Mad Libs that you would buy at the grocery store.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was something. I think your eyes just like crossed. Like what you went somewhere else trying to get all of the words there.
They're like twitching and blinking.
Yeah, exactly.
Screaming for help.
Because of that, that satanic spell that you just recited, we already had this where he is like, I've learned I can bottom now. We kind of don't need this. All they really needed to do was just show up and be funny and cute. It's like between him and Seema, I was like, let's not do this.
Yeah, I especially hate the fact that they resolved this last episode. Like last episode should have ended on the scene that this season ends with, which is the bottoming.
Right, the bottoming in question.
Like Anthony bottoming is what it should have ended. But then they like didn't have a finale closer that was, I guess, romantic enough. I don't know. So that's why it got pushed this episode. So stupid. I just want to watch them make out in the closet, which is what they do. Because Anthony basically has a big freak out meltdown moment where he's like, I love you. Please don't go to Rome. Like, he's like, I love you. Giuseppe's like, I didn't know that. And he's like, isn't it obvious? And then they make out. And then Lisette bursts in high on fucking
something.
Balls and is like, oh my God, she left the bras. She promised. Isn't the apartment great? And like, get the fuck out.
It's so weird. It is so weird. They're like making out in the closet. She's just walking through, just being like, aren't you guys, like walking past two people making out going, aren't you guys like in awe of this closet? It's like, there's no sober explanation for this. And then she sees bras hanging on the hanger and she's like, she left the bras. And I'm like, that's a weird way to respond to your neighbor, like leaving bras behind.
Well, because it was like an in joke in the last episode when they're like packing up everything.
There was something about bras.
And yeah, like Lisette's like, basically Carrie's like, oh, my closet's too big. I forget how it starts, but Lisette's like, I'll literally take anything. And Carrie's like, maybe I've got some ratty old bras from the 80s. And Lisette's like, yes, please. I want them. And then when she sees them in the closet, she's like, oh my God, she did actually leave me the bras.
Okay.
I hate it.
I think Lisette is actually not a stand-in for young Carrie. I think she's a stand-in for a diehard fan of the Sex and the City show. Do you know what I mean? She's there.
Whoa.
Yeah. Walk with me where I'm going. This meta-textual analysis. I think that's what she's supposed to be.
Wow. Now I feel like I'm high.
We can never like do drugs. We can never do shrooms together because we're going to be there being like, Lisette is the fandom.
I can't imagine a word. Like people are like, I came to conclusions about, I don't know, like divorcing my husband or changing my career path. And it's like, Emily and I took drugs and we just figured out all the crack theories.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like that. Stupid
waste of narcotics.
Of our money and our time. No, I'm really mind blown, but I think you're totally right. I actually, one layer of Inception deeper, I think it's what they think the fans are.
Yeah,
because again, it's like, who would ever leave this apartment? Like, it explains the fact that she's like, I love your podcast. I'm never going to get over that.
That's the line for you, is you're like, there's so many irrational things that have happened for you on this show, and I love that this is where you draw the line. Like everything else, you were like, look, it's crazy, but I can accept the Shinto monk. Like, it's like you have been so patient with everything that has happened on this show, and this is where you draw the line, is like, she likes the podcast. That's so inhuman.
It's so inhuman. But yes, you've honestly helped heal me in your explanation of her, because that makes total sense. It's like them trying to brainwash us into what they think we should think.
Yes.
And every time they are wrong, and every time we think she is high.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, Carrie has this moment where she introduces her cat to everyone, and she decides that the cat's name is Shoe, which has a double meaning. Shoe because, ew, get away. But also shoe, like, get out of my shoes.
Isn't this just what like a homonym is? Which award-winning writer Carrie doesn't really seem to know and is incredibly impressed by. She calls it a double meaning. But neither of these things are like related to cats. You know what I mean? She's like acts like it's a clever thing. Is there anything she does that it does not annoy me?
First of all, no. Second of all, I don't know. There's just something about it. Again, it's just like another step in the inch for me. That's a made up. That doesn't mean anything, but we're gonna go with that.
All right.
Another step in the inch for me, which is her just being like, I just don't believe she would ever own a pet. The fact that she names it Shoe because she's like, Shoe, go away. I'm like, you're not helping me believe that you're more maternal.
That's a very good point. That's a good read. That's like naming your baby Accident.
Yeah, literally. No, but literally. And then having everyone be like, oh, she does love accidents.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Isn't that so heartwarming how she wants to shoe it and get it away from her? Okay.
All right. But she has to bring up her baby because it has to trigger LTW thinking about her baby.
Mm-hmm.
Sad. And she kind of has this moment where she goes to the bathroom. It starts out kind of funny because she has to blow right past Anthony and Giuseppe making out. The closet again. But she goes to the bathroom and she has a very touching scene with our MVP, our favorite man on this show, Herbert the Turtle.
Let's get a round of applause there, Tori.
Round of
Herbert
applause.
the Turtle.
Round of applause. Icon, hero, god among men.
And reptiles.
And she kind of talks about how she feels guilty, that she feels that she wished the baby away. And he says, you know, there's nothing to be guilty for. Thoughts are just thoughts. They can't actually do anything. And it's just really lovely. He's like, do you want to leave? She's like, no. And it's great.
Yeah, I have nothing to say about it. It's cute. Do I wish that we didn't rush this so intensely at the end of the show? No. Yeah, that would be nice. But like, you know, if we're gonna wrap it up this way, this is fine. You know what I mean?
Then Carrie calls everyone to dinner, and Naya's like openly flirting with the chef in front of everyone. He's like, "You want to like eat the little spoon?" And she's like, "I have to put a little spoon in my whole ass mouth." And you're like,
yeah, it's
everyone can hear you.
Yeah, someone even makes a joke like, "Wow, get a room, guys." And it seems sort of under, like, kind of quietly. I think it's like Anthony quietly says that to Giuseppe, but everyone at the table laughs because everyone heard it and everyone also feels uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. So then the director has to get up to make a phone call, and he and Seema have this whole fight. He says another great, and by great, I mean horrific movie pun line where he's like, "I don't know what script you're writing, but it's like a script I don't want to be a part of." Something dumb like that. But he has a very strong moment because Seema basically confronts him about all her doubts and insecurities. And he's like, "Your insecurity is an insult to me and our relationship. And basically, you need to figure your shit out. I need to go call Egypt."
Yeah, he's having a crisis in Egypt. I have one bullet point that's just capital letters, "the Sphinx!" ! Because the conundrum is that he can't film in front of the Sphinx. And I just thought that was funny.
No, it's so funny, too, because he's like, how many directors, like only 3 directors in the world have ever filmed in front of the Sphinx. And I'm like, I don't even want to think about this.
Yes. And I do like that Seema even has it. She's like, "Don't you guys like make foam core and stuff? Like, can't you just like make it?" Like, she has like an actual Hollywood response of like, "Why don't you just do it?" And then he doesn't have an answer for that.
Especially given the fact that it's a Marvel movie, so they just put everything in green
anyway.
screen in Atlanta anyway. So
that's a good point. Yeah,
stupid.
It's stupid.
It's stupid. But they have a tiff, and then we get to this round table Robin scene. So some context for this from the Writers Podcast. Basically, Michael Patrick King was like, "That I put that in there because I just didn't want the episode to be too long. I got all these characters in the same room, and I didn't want them to have to keep interacting one-on-one. It was too hard to write. So I sat and I thought, how can I just get one big interaction and get this whole scene over with? I'll just have them go around the table, and I'll say one word, and that'll be really meaningful and impactful."
That's actually what he said on the podcast?
Yeah.
Okay.
And part of me is like, this scene is kind of genius in just a purely technical aspect because you do get to go through 20 characters and where they're at and then wrap up the whole dinner scene. But it's executed in the most random slapdash manner. Like, it's like he's so close because it's like they should have done a round robin of their memories of this apartment to pay tribute to this apartment. Like, he's right there.
He's so close.
Instead, it's like one word of something you're letting go. Like, the fuck? I don't give a shit what the fuck Smoke, Jackie's wife, is letting go of. I don't give a fuck of what she's letting go of. You know what I care about? This apartment and all the crazy things that have happened in this apartment. And you could have so much fun with people being like, "Oh, I remember this," or "I remember this." Or the new characters being like, "I've never been in here, but Anthony and Giuseppe were making out in that closet 2 seconds ago, so that'll be my thing." Like, so funny. So much about the relationships, about the people that are at the table with each other. But no, he fucking lays it up and then plays soccer. And you're like, I can't, I hate it. I don't want to say I hate it because I say I hate it too much.
Trying to find another word for hate. Despise.
I can't find another word for hate. I can't find another word for hate that is more meaningful or impactful, but it just, I'm mad as hell. I can't take this anymore. I'm out. I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take this anymore. Podcast done. Episode over. Thank you so much. Like and subscribe. It's been real.
No. We're going back. We're back.
We're back.
No, once again, you have script doctored this thing, and I really hope you get hired for this show because, like, once again, you found the easy fix that makes it 10 times better. It's about the apartment. And then also, if this is your series finale that's also kind of a finale to this whole franchise, wouldn't that be so nice to like also include the old show that way? That makes complete sense to me. It's a pet peeve of mine when I see therapy scenes in like TV and movies and stuff, because that's kind of the crutch of the writers. It's not actually how therapy works. It's usually the writer is like, I need to talk about a character's internal struggle or desire or something internal. I don't know how else to show that or communicate that. So I'm going to put them in a scene with a therapist. And it's such a crutch, and it's not only is that just, I think, a damaging way to portray therapy, because that's not how that works. But like that's so lazy. Do you know what I mean? Like it's so you kind of have to be a little more neat than that, and you just like try to find at least something else a little bit more subtle. This feels like that.
It's just it's so uncomfortable. So we go to Che, and Che's like, I'm letting go of rules.
I hate it.
There's literally
God,
gouge my eye out. I was like, ugh. I was like you ever follow them to begin with?
Exactly. Oh my God, that makes me so mad.
About not following rules, Michael Patrick King. Fucking wake up to your own fucking internal logic. My neighbor's gonna kill me. I'm screaming. I'm so sorry. She's never gonna listen to this podcast, but I am so sorry.
Yeah. Just like leave her some bras or something, because that seems to be an able thing to do.
Some ratty old bras.
Yeah, some ratty old bras from the 80s. Yeah, it just pisses me off about Che, and all of this just makes me angry. Whatever. I'm sick of it. Let's move on.
Che says rules. Smoke, a character we all forgot about and should have been Steve's seat, but I guess it'll be Smoke, says competitiveness. Go fuck yourself. Jackie says nervousness. If anything, he should have said hollandaise sauce.
Oh, right. Okay, I was like, who's Jackie?
Since it gives him radioactive diarrhea.
No, I had a moment.
That would have been at least funny.
I had a moment of who is Jackie, and then that told me who it was. Okay, thank you. But
There
you're right,
you go.
hollandaise sauce. I'm giving up hollandaise sauce.
Would have been so much better. Anthony says control. That's cute. Giuseppe says Rome. Fine. The Marvel director says social media as like an inside joke to Seema basically being like, you're going to fuck some girl on TikTok.
Right. And he's saying, like, I'm giving up that ? I think all of the couples in this say like a word that only means something to the conflict they've been having with the other person in the couple. You know what I mean? They're all doing this kind of like, here's a double meaning thing. This is what double meaning means, by the way, actually, Carrie. They're all doing like a double meaning thing and giving each other like a little like wink and a nudge. And then Smoke is out here being like competitiveness.
So stupid. So then Seema says distrust. Naya says yesterday. Creative. Miranda says guilt. Then LTW is like, oh shoot, that's my word. Actually, I'm going to say guilt too. Great. Herbert says pass, then we never come back to him.
That's my king. That's my president.
My God. He said, I'm above this.
Yeah.
He said,
I'm not stooping to your
this.
level. I'm a comptroller. I
am an elected official. I don't have to do this. He said, I'm George Washington. I abstain from parties.
Yeah, exactly.
Lisette says fear, and then she like giggles because she's still high, being like, is that weird? I'm like, this whole thing is weird, girl. It's fine.
Girl, you're gonna feel this in the morning.
Harry says possessiveness, which is fine. Charlotte says limits, which is honestly the only word here that's cute and positive. Everyone else is like distrust, fear, and then she's like limits. I'm like, that's great.
Right. And it's similar to Che's, who said rules, but in Che's case, it doesn't work and it's infuriating. Do you know what I mean? It's not correct.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
is it actually being correct.
Exactly.
Charlotte is my pleasure to have in class. Like every episode, I'm like, thank you so much for showing up, Charlotte, and thank you for doing your due diligence here of being a character.
God.
Don't.
It only goes downhill from here for you. Okay. Carrie says expectations. And then she gives a whole ass speech. It's the one funny moment from Che in this whole goddamn series when Che's like, that's more than one word. And everyone laughs. And I'm like, thank you. Thank you for calling out Carrie for once for sucking. Too bad you suck bad, but it's okay. And then the dinner party's over. It's kind of like the post coitus of the dinner party. Miranda gets a call that she has to go on the BBC to talk about Human Rights Watch. Oh my God. And so she jets off to go to the BBC. I think my favorite part about this is that she gets in the cab and I was like, don't say it. Don't say it. She gets in the cab and she's like, can you take me to BBC? And I was like, the cab driver doesn't know where that is.
Follow that other cab. I actually thought you were going to note something else in the scene, which is this scene was brought to you by the Museum of Sex. We see a very prolonged, it's just one very long shot of her walking down the front steps of the apartment to get into this cab that has the Museum of Sex ad on top. The shot is way too long. It's just silence because we're just listening to the like click, click, click of like her heels going down the steps while we're just looking at this ad. And then all the buildup is just for her to say, take me to the BBC, and then it drives away. So it's a very strange advertisement for the Museum of Sex. Because it's Sex in the City.
Well, because you get it. Because this show was Sex in the City once.
I think you're mistaken. Oh, I'm so sorry.
A little tear just fell down my cheek. But anyway, she busts ass to the BBC and she sits at this like most random set of all time. First of all, it's like I'm about to get real news technical. Okay, everyone put on their snooze glasses because I'm about to get real technical up in here. If this were real, she would be put in a nook. What is a nook? A nook is a tiny room with no windows that has usually a plasma screen TV with a background, just like a chair, a little desk, and one singular camera. Instead, they put her on like a full ass set and there's like 12 people giving her like water and lipstick and all these things. I'm like, this is not what news is like. Okay. Why are there 18 people and then like somebody with one of those clapboards being like action? Like, I don't, this is not how news works. Was infuriating to me as an insider, but she looks at her tattoo and I'm happy for her, I guess, that now she's a broadcast journalist because I guess being a lawyer wasn't enough.
Yeah, okay. She's found something. The Che Diaz nightmare is over. The train wreck of her life is over. So, like, sure, whatever. She seems happy. But, whatever. She seems like a different person, I will say that. She seems like she has calmed the hell down from where I saw her in the beginning of this, where she was climbing out of a sensory deprivation tank and screaming at Carrie into her phone that she didn't know how to work, being like, I'm getting a tattoo! And now she's here, like, on TV for the Human Rights Watch talking about a migrant crisis. So this seems like a radically different person. But I'm not going to complain because I like this person so much more.
First of all, agreed on every single point. I do love that they're like 3, 2, 1, go, and she's like, cages hold immigrants. It's like, okay.
Yeah, like no one asked her a question. It's like, what's that Family Guy clip where he's like, Jesus, who starts a conversation like this? I just sat down. It's like that meme.
But I agree. I think she's a little bit more Miranda than she was at the beginning of the season. And I am like, if in season 3 they lean in and they make it like the newsroom part with her. And it's just like the chicanery that happens in a newsroom, man. You and I, the ad dollars of this podcast are going to go from 0 to 0. Okay.
That's really good. Oh boy, you're right. You're so right. That's exactly what's going to happen.
People are going to be coming here for the good teardown.
We are going to have a blast. We're going to have a blast. Oh, I can't wait. I really hope that's what happens.
I pray. So that's Miranda for now. Meanwhile, the movie director comes and brags about how he's going to shoot in front of the Sphinx. And he tells Seema, you're going to have to come with me for 5 months because I need to now leave New York and go to Egypt. Because it takes 5 months to shoot probably one scene in front of the Sphinx.
Yeah, what is this scene?
Stupid.
What is this Marvel movie he's doing that requires him to be in New York for, what was it, like 2 months and then be in Egypt in front of a Sphinx for 5 months? What Marvel superhero is this?
And Seema admits to being scared. Whatever. I don't even care. I don't even remember. I think they just figure it out.
I don't care. I'm sick of them.
Then Carrie and the cat are cuddling. So cute. Everyone's kind of left from the party. And shocker, Aiden shows up. He's literally been in Virginia for all of 24 hours. He literally flew to Virginia, took care of his sick son, then turned right back around, went to New York. And then she's like, where's your suitcase? He's like, I'm not staying. I'm like, why? Couldn't this have been a phone call? I don't know.
That's a very good point. I know that this has to happen on a condensed timeline because they wanted to do the like one and then the other, but that makes his timeline insane.
It's insane. And he comes into her apartment. Oh, remember he said he'd never do that, but now he does. I don't know what I'm supposed to take away from that.
I was waiting for you to tell me why this is like how this made you feel emotionally, and you're just like, I don't know.
I was like, this whole plot, I mean,
whatever.
I get it. Fine.
I get him not wanting to go there, right? Like clearly something
of course,
dramatic
yes.
but I don't know what I'm supposed to feel now. Am I supposed to be like, ooh, some like,
ooh,
I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. But he comes in and basically says that he wants to be there for his son. He has a great line where he's like, my son took psilocybin.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Like people say that.
Yeah.
Jinx.
There it is. Yeah.
He's like, my son had psilocybin. Something's wrong with him.
Well, that's crazy because Lizette, who owns his apartment now, just walked out of here and she also had psilocybin.
And this show is an ad for the Center of Freedom, Liberty, Guns, Stand-Up, and psilocybin.
And drugs, yeah.
And drugs. And basically Carrie's not getting it. He's like explained to her in 8 different ways that he's basically not coming back. And she's like, so you'll visit New York, right? And he's like, and she's like, well, and so I'll come down there, right? And he's like, he's just like, you're going to pull focus from my kids. So I need to be focused on my kids. And even if you come, then I can't be a good parent. So I'm just going to wait till they're 18. And then after that, we can fuck off and never think about them ever again.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Cause that was I have 2 points to make about Aiden's assessment of the situation. One is that he's so literal. Like he says that, like, she's like, well, then when will I get to see you again? Or when can we see you? Whatever. And he says, when they've grown. And I took that in a kind of figure of speech kind of way of like when they don't need me anymore. But no, he's very literal there because she's like, wait, but how long could that be? She's like 6 years. And he's like, no, 5, because his birthday was last week. Like he's like down to the calendar date is like, no, I checked. It's 5 years until he turns 18 and he's not my problem anymore. Like that is how it is. What's what he's saying, right? Is that like legally isn't his problem anymore?
Yes. Can you imagine? It's your 18th birthday. Everyone's like, happy birthday to you. You blow out the candles. You look up your dad's on his phone. You're like, Dad, what are you doing? He's like, I'm booking tickets to New York to go be with my girlfriend. Goodbye. And then just takes this little rolly carry-on and then just leaves.
Best of luck, son. You got this.
Because God knows you can't have any mental health issues in college.
Yeah. It's so bizarre to me. Or even just the implication of like, my son won't need me anymore. Like in college or even as an adult, like, is he just not going to be able to like come to you for things? Because like, this is just being a dad. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to just stop being your son. You're a dad.
But I feel like the Michael Patrick King is in love with this idea of 5 years of separation. And so he wants that like thing of like the 5 years of longing.
Okay.
Dumb.
This was the second thing that I was going to talk about.
Oh my
is the
God.
like the 5-year thing. I do think that this is one of those like I'll see you in X years thing. It's like, or if we're still single in 3 years, if whatever, find me again. I think it's one of those things that sounds much more romantic than it actually is, or at least it works better when you're making this agreement when you're young. You know what I mean? Like this is the kind of thing that like high school sweethearts might say to each other. Not now, where these people are how old? 50s?
I guess they're like in their 50s somewhere, yeah.
Right, which is again, I applaud their youthful spirit. They are. It's not like they have like they're in the grave. They're in their 50s. They have a lot of life ahead. But also, her husband died on a Peloton. Like they're not spring chickens. So like just saying, oh, 5 years, it's like you have no idea what that's gonna look like, and that is why I prepared. Just for context, we're recording this in 2023. 5 years ago was 2018. Can I just recap some things that happened 5 years ago to just like give you a sense of how long a time this is?
Please.
We began 2018 with the Winter Olympics in Korea.
I didn't even remember that happened.
We had the Time's Up protest at the Oscars because Harvey Weinstein had happened sort of recently. We had March for Our Lives. Aretha Franklin died. Then Pete Davidson and Ariana Grande had a whirlwind engagement over the summer. And then the Kavanaugh trial happened. And then the boys were rescued from the Thailand cave. We're recording this around the holidays, and the top movies of the holiday season in 2018. Number one was The Grinch. Number 2 was the first Aquaman.
Ocean to Ocean.
We're closing this podcast on Ocean to Ocean. Come at me, Pitbull.
We are closing this podcast with the Ocean to Ocean. Tori, note that.
3, Bohemian Rhapsody. 4,
wow,
Ralph Breaks the Internet. And 5, Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. The time between that year and now is what Aiden is describing as a snap. I want people to understand this. I want people to really think about it. It sounds so romantic, doesn't it? As in 5 years, we'll find each other again. I want people to really think about this, is what he's saying. I will see you in the next presidency and the next World Cup.
I am like standing, like solo clapping, like Meryl Streep in that gif, being like, go, go, go.
Yes.
First of all, Emily fact checker is back.
Yeah, I'm on the case.
Legal checked it. Legal said, no, 5 years ago, this is what was happening.
Yeah, legal.
This is incredible. And a reminder that I yearn for 2018. Times were better.
Times were simpler.
For me, the good old days, 2018.
Yeah, what a thing we would never think that we said, and I hope it doesn't get worse from here. Knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, no.
In 5 years, we should listen to this podcast again.
Oh God, this is our time capsule.
This is our time capsule,
or a sad, grim thought. I think the we'll see each other in a few years is like you had a problem in the relationship and then it was hard. And then instead of solving it, you were like, but what if we kick the can down the road and solve it then? Maybe it'll go away if we wait a few years.
I have a tidbit for you that I'm going to save until the very end. And when I say it to you, you will explode. Okay?
Oh, no.
That's my tease to the end of this podcast.
Okay.
I'm going to leave it at that. So to wrap up the montage that we get of basically everyone's final moments before and just like that world explodes.
Okay.
Charlotte and Harry romantically work on setting up her Apple phone. Mm-hmm. They like roll around in the bed in their jammies. Miranda and Joy from the British woman from the BBC go out on a date and flirt for what feels like days. because it keeps cutting in between the montage.
Yeah.
Too many crossfades. You're like, how long have they been at this bar? Like 2 days?
5 years.
5 years, just like that.
Just like that.
Anthony and Giuseppe have butt stuff finally. Congratulations. Let's put a little woo-woo here. Che and Toby make out, but they make out in such a weird way. It's like they're like in Che's apartment and they like come face to face in the window and then like kiss. It's very strange.
It's way too elegant staging for like I think also because everything about it is once again so dark and sinister and awful. There's something about it that reminded me of the end of Fight Club where they're standing there at the window and everything's blowing up. That's what's going. That's the vibe.
You hear that, MPK?
Yeah. This is what I think of the stand-up community. Okay.
Naya and the chef, they have this really cute moment when they're in Carrie's apartment where he's like, oh, where do you live? And she's like, I live in Harlem. And he's like, I live in Brooklyn. And she's like, okay. And he's like, can I take you home? And she's like, you live in the opposite direction. He's like, my favorite way to get to Harlem is through Brooklyn.
Cute.
Like something like that. So cute.
Actual flirting.
That's good copy. And so they get to her apartment and he's like, I didn't eat. And she's like, oh, well, let me cook for you. And I mean, that must mean cooking her vagina. That's how I understood that.
Okay. Okay. So he says something like, do you have anything to eat? I also thought, oh, this is a layup to like talking about eating her out. Yes. But then they actually literally say, oh, wait, you haven't eaten? And he's like, no, I didn't get any dinner at Sarah's or Carrie's. And she's like, oh, I got something here. Like, come in. And I had this moment of, oh, wow, I thought it was a dirty thing. We've been setting up all these dirty jokes. And then the subversion is that she's actually giving him food. And then your mind went, he's cooking her vagina.
Yeah, I didn't have that nuance at all. I said, oh, double meaning.
Double meaning.
Her.
Yeah, you made that noise. You barked like a dog.
I did. I looked at the screen. I went, her. Aiden and Carrie have sex, and I think this is the most shirtless we've ever seen Sarah Jessica Parker in the last like 20 years that this show has been on the air. I was like, wow, they're having sex, capital S-E-X. Then Seema and Ravi have sex, and I put 2 underlines under it. I think because it's like, you look at the Carrie and Aiden sex scene, and you're like, whoa, this is a lot for Sarah Jessica Parker, because she usually keeps it pretty, like, bra on. Mm-hmm. But then you cut to the, like, Seema movie director sex scene, and it's, like, so much more graphic, where you're like, yeah, no, it's not fair that Sarah Jessica Parker gets to keep her bra on, and everybody else has to be titties out and, like, absolutely doing a workout. Like, what the fuck?
Well, this is why she sort of, right, is like that she's a sex writer who also seems like confused by sex. Is like, I guess this is just the kind of sex that she has, that she's never, on top.
LTW and Herbert snuggle, which is very cute. They like curl up on each other. Carrie and Aiden, they have a little final scene where they're like, none of this was a mistake. I'll think of you. And then he wistfully gets in a little Uber and drives away, and she waves from her front stoop or whatever with the cat.
What happens if one of them falls in love with someone else in the 5-year absence? What's in the terms and conditions of this? Legal would like to know.
Well, before we get to that legal question, let me just wrap up real quick, and then we'll get into it, because basically Seema calls Carrie and is like, I want to go to the beach, but we can't go to the Hamptons. And the whole audience is like, damn it, I wanted to see the Hamptons. Instead, they go to Greece. And Seema's like, well, I have to wait 5 months for my boyfriend, and you have to wait 5 years. So we ran at love, and it ran away. And they're like, ah, ha, 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 ha. And then Carrie, this, and just like that, drove me bonkers. Because Carrie starts talking Greek to the man. She has to be like, when I make random sounds, it's me speaking Greek. Okay, I don't know Greek. But she's like, blah, 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 cosmos, blah, 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 blah. And then it goes, and just like that, I ordered 2 more cosmos. Like, no shit, bitch. I heard the word cosmos You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It's like, again, it's about Michael Patrick King getting to the finish line and then fucking tripping his way down 18 different rakes that hit him in the face. It's like, if she had just been like, oh, blah, 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 and just like that, I ordered 2 more drinks. Great. But they want to put Cosmos in there because Sex in the City is synonymous with Cosmos. Then make up a Greek word for Cosmos. Like, I don't know. I don't know the better.
It's explaining the joke. You know what I mean? It's like, it was a cute moment to have all the Greek and then hear Cosmo. Like, that's a cute moment. It's a cute joke. But then, yeah, they explain it in the thing.
So Michael Patrick King is talking about the finale and everyone's like, the interviewer is like, yeah, you know, it seems pretty final, whatnot. What are you thinking about for season 3? And Michael Patrick King's like, I haven't thought about season 3 at all. But the one thing I will say is that this one sentence that she says in this last scene in Greece definitely alludes to the fact that she's open to looking around, that like she's not going to stay single for those 5 years. And I was like, you cannot show me this long sex scene, all these scenes about how they're meant for each other and they're perfect or whatever, and then be like, it's single Carrie now. What?
Okay, so this I see why you saved this, because this is what addressing my question. If the agreement was, in 5 years, if we're still single, we'll get back together, then that would make more sense, because it's like, yes, oh, she's gonna date around and then like in 5 year blah blah blah. But that's not actually what he said, which is why I was confused and asking you, like, what are the terms and conditions here, right? Like, are we allowed to see other people? Because 5 years is a long time. So I would assume the implication is yes. But then also the next step is, okay, what happens if you fall in love with them? What happens if they fall in love with you? Because it's like a half promise without the actual weight of a promise. It's the romanticness of a promise without actually committing anything.
Yeah, he didn't give her a ring. He didn't do anything. It's what we talk about a lot with this team, which is that they write themselves into corners that they then have to write themselves out of. Mm-hmm. So he wanted this romantic thing, which to your point is not that romantic and real in the practicality of it. And so you wanted this big romantic ending. So I think they want her to be like, have more dating hijinks, which is great, fun, and I support that. But then they wrote themselves into this 5-year separation corner.
Right, with an agreement that like make her look bad. It like adds implications to everything. He's just going to be this big elephant in the room because, like, to your point, they just set him up as like they're meant to be. She even said like, was big a big mistake? Like they've set this up as like the big end game thing. So even watching her gallivant around with these other people, we're just going to spend the whole season being like, is Aiden going to come back?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like they did so much legwork to convince me that Aiden deserved to be back on the show. And I kind of went along with it. And then it's like, and he's gone. I can't wait for the clunky way that they write around this. Because you know it's not going to be clunky. It is going to be clunky, sorry. It's not going to be clarifying. It's going to be clunky.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
And that's the season finale. I say we get into our release the Kraken and our get them. So let's start with their get them first. What was your get them of this episode, Emily?
It feels like a cop-out to kind of pick something that we've talked to death about, and I think was the get them of a previous episode. But the entire Che, Toby, Miranda plot here of beginning, middle, and end is just my get them. Like, for all the other flaws of this episode, I think if that just wasn't present, I would have the episode would have been hugely just better and more enjoyable. But it brought me down every time.
It is what it is. My get them is, I mean, I feel like I can hear the chants of the audience in their homes. It's got to be Lisette saying that podcast is her favorite.
You're the bane of your, that, I understand.
What's your release the Kraken? What do you want more of in the upcoming 3rd season?
I want more of that cat.
Yeah. I am excited for like more cat plots.
Yeah. What's your release the Kraken?
I'm glad Naya was resolved well. I found out that from this Michael Patrick King interview that literally the reason she's not in the season is due to scheduling conflicts with the morning show. So they had to write all her plots in a vacuum. I hope that we get some sort of revenge fantasy scene next season of her punching Andre Rashad in the face.
Yes.
That's what I'm asking for.
Amen. That's a good one.
Amen. So to wrap up, Emily, we made it through your first season of this empire. What are, what feelings are you left with?
We talk about how unhinged it is or crazy it is, whatever. I just need to emphasize, this is really not what I thought I was getting into. This show has really pushed the boundary for me in terms of, how something can be so anti-television and, anti-narrative. I'm, almost impressed. It's a show that I thought was going to be kind of a hate watch in it's so bad it's good way, or it's so bad it's funny kind of way. And it's not that. It really is a surrealist experiment in how to make something actively anti-logical. I'm tired, I think, is my summary of the season. I'm tired.
Yeah, for me, I think when I watched the season the first time through alone, I remember being well, at least it was better than season 1. And I barely remember season 1, but that was my takeaway. And I'm scared to go back to season 1.
That is not what I wanted to hear, Marina.
That's what I kept thinking.
That's the thing we're about to start. And you just told me that it's worse. That is not what I wanted to hear at the end of this.
I'm so sorry. And then the last thing that I'll say, which was something that Michael Patrick King brought up in that podcast. He was like, people are talking about this show, and that's all I want. Because the worst thing you can do is create something that makes no impact, that no people talk about, that no one talks about. And our show, has its problems, but he was like, yeah, I read all the stuff and I get it. But at the end of the day, I go home at night basically, and I sleep well knowing that people are talking about it. And that's a curse that you and I have to live with because we're talking about it.
That pisses me off so much. What a little brat. That's such a Elon Musk take of yeah, I know I did really stupid decisions, but at least people are trending me on Twitter or whatever, liking my tweet. What are you doing, sir? Get back in your cryogenic sleep tube. We messed up. I'm so sorry. Get back there. We need to work this out the next time we saw you. We need a plan. This was a mistake.
Yeah, the flashcards can't just be vocab terms woke and psilocybin. The flashcards need to have thought out plots for people. That's where we messed up, is that we gave him, we thought that he would be able to harness his brain. Instead, he just put the flashcards on the whiteboard and said, "Do it. TV show."
Yeah.
Make it happen. Television. Heard of it?
Yeah, that was our mistake.
Well, that was our mistake. On that note, we are closing out season 2. Thank you so much for listening to us gab about this. We are taking a 2-week break, so we will be back on Wednesday, January 10th. And we will be starting with season 1 of And Just Like That. Thank you for following. Thank you for giving us 5 stars. Thank you for listening. Oh, you haven't done any of those things? We'll do them now. And we will see you in the new year. Bye.
They tried to get rid of me, but from ocean to ocean, they gonna have to deal with me. I've been overlooked, slept on, stepped on, left for dead. Always against all odds, like Pac said. I'm the living great Gatsby, but these boys will watch you quick and disappear like Banksy. From ocean to ocean, sea to sea, I'm something that you gotta see.
Gonna take a lot.